All right, welcome back, everyone, to another Coyote Radio Show and podcast. We got a great guest today. John Grace is with us from Kentucky. He's the man that puts it all together behind the scenes for the Laurel Cove Music Festival. That's coming up here in June 9th and 10th. It's a 2-day deal. This is year number 4 for him, and it's sold out. But there is a chance you might be able to get some tickets. There is a waiting list. But we're going to dive deep, get the background story, how this whole thing started, and why you should probably attend at some point in the future or maybe even this year. So, we got big names like 49 Winchester, Arlo McKinley's there. I'm a big Cole Chaney fan, Nolan Taylor. I mean, so many good ones. S.G. Goodman. I don't know, Willie T. Taylor. There's a whole list. I can't sit here and name them all, but it's just a great lineup. It's a great festival, and we'll explain that and tell you all about it and why it's a great festival. But I do want to say thanks to everyone that's been joining and subscribing, liking, sharing, all that good stuff to keep the podcast going. Things are looking up. Things are going good. I got some gear ordered for some audio gear. I'm going to do some more recordings in the field and some in-person interviews. So yeah, things are going well. Thanks to all the supporters out there. If you could just hit that subscribe button and share this one too. Spread the word. We do have a website, and that's Coyote Radio Show and podcast.com. Link in the description. So, all right, I think that covers everything. Let's go talk to my man John. All right, everyone, welcome back to another Coyote Radio Show and podcast. John Grace is with us. It's been a minute, man, since we've talked, but I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. It means a lot. I think maybe since Laurel Cove last year is the last time we got to hang out a little bit, but appreciate you having me on here, and appreciate all you're doing to help, spread good music around to people, and it's a pleasure.
Yeah. So basically, I asked you on because you throw this awesome festival along with other mini shows in Kentucky. You're doing a lot for the music community behind the scenes that people are starting to recognize that for sure from you. And I just think you had good taste. And as far as what you're bringing to the music festival there, it's good. There's so many festivals out there around the country. And I feel like this one's up there, at least for my taste. So
I appreciate that. I mean, it means a lot because we know we've kind of, I think, entering into year 4, we kind of know what we are now. And it was weird how it happened. So first of all, I mean, I always say this, man, I got the best crew behind me, and they're all volunteers. It's very much just a group of friends doing it. And then obviously we work with Pine Mountain State Park and Main Street Pineville and different, organizations like that. But, entering into year 4, we were just trying to figure out, we kind of knew our identity, but we wanted to know what we are and what we aren't. We're not going to be the biggest, because the Cove is limited in, we have 1,200 people there. That's the max capacity. So we're not going to be the biggest. We're not going to be the flashiest. So what we're going to try to do is focus on being a music festival for people who don't typically like big music festivals, if you know what I mean. And that's not a slight to any big music festivals, because I go to big music festivals too. But, we wanted to make this event in particular one that, it's not waiting in line 50 minutes for a $15 beer. And it's not, being crammed in with people that are talking over the music and things like that. So we tried to establish our identity as, an event that focuses on bringing quality to, what we do. And so far it's worked out pretty good, but it's only worked out that way because people like yourself, all the folks that come and attend and just have a good time. Jeff Cox said recently, Jeff's a good friend of mine, he said it was easy. He said it was an easy event to attend. And that means a lot, because that's what we try to do. We want people to, for it to be as relaxing and laid back as possible.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think you got that. Last year was my first year attending, and I had a great time. And,
Yeah.
like you said, like he said, it was easy. You know, you could sit, enjoy the music. You got vendors, you got food.
Yeah.
Um, the walking distance between the two stages, a nice little walk through the woods. It's
Mhm.
a beautiful area, and it sounds good too. I
Yeah.
think something about those rocks, the way it echoed off the back, especially I noticed when Drayton Farley performed, it was like it really caught me. I was telling him
You
about
know,
it.
it's weird that you mention that because and it's weird whenever people say that that venue reminds them of Red Rocks. I've been to Red Rocks once, and I kinda get what they're saying, even though they're 2 totally different places, but they were built by the Triple C, which is, an kind of a public works program under FDR back in the 30s. Um, and it was built within the landscape. So the rock cliffs that are kind of you don't see it behind the tree line in the back, but there's a huge rock cliff in the back too. So and it's kind of in this little bowl. So the acoustics are just really, really good. And for me, that's as important as anything is having really good sound. And that's one thing that the Cove lends itself to. It's got just great sound and plenty of shade where you need it and things like that. So, it makes for a really unique venue. So,
Yeah, I should probably back up. You said this is the fourth year. How did you even? Was it you or some friends, or like how did this even come up? You're like, hey, let's have a
yeah,
festival here, like just
it was
randomly.
weird. Yeah, it was weird. So we were actually, my buddy Blake and I were at what still to this day will always be my favorite music festival, whether it happens again or not, which was Kicking It on the Creek in 2018. Kicking It on the Creek, which was put together by the Roberts family up near Irvin. It was just the best music festival. It was everything good about live music, and the bands could feel it, the people could feel it as soon as you walk in, and it was just unlike any other music festival I'd ever been to. But we were just sitting under a tent. I met so many people that I know in this community now at that event. But me and my buddy Blake were just sitting under a tent drinking some Cougar Bait at 2 p.m. Probably I think we were listening to John R. Miller, and he made the comment it would be awesome if we could do a concert back home, and it just clicked. Like Laurel Cove has been there obviously forever, but it's never been something that we really used. And just for a different amount of reasons. First, it's really hard to do a show there. Like logistically, it's really tough to put one on. But I told him, I was like, man, that would be awesome place to do a show if we could convince the state park to do it. So we did, and in 2019, we only sold like I think 300, 400 tickets in 2019. Had John Moreland and Arlo and a few more there. It actually rained that one out so hard we moved it inside, but now it's grown. For over the past couple of years in attendance pretty consistently, and we've been learning things. I've done a lot of different events through my job as tourism director, and this is one that you always find out by about year 3 or 4 what an event can be, and you start to get a little bit. It becomes easier. It becomes a little bit more routine. But we were able to figure it out pretty quickly, and hopefully going into this year, we've got a pretty good scheduling and routine in place to make it go pretty smooth. So.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You got ideas like that. I mean, you got me dreaming big. One day I'll have my
Yeah.
festival. One day, maybe a day or
Yeah.
two. So
Well, I'm telling you, man. I mean, like I said, there's so many great festivals. One of the things I was talking on another podcast recently is there's a lot of good festivals in Kentucky, and a lot of great festivals, and nobody. It's not a competition between us. I mean, we're all like competitive, maybe in a friendly sense, but all these festivals are so different from one another, and we all want each other to succeed. It's not like we're out here trying to be better than so and so. And actually, it's quite the opposite. We try to lift each other up, and similar to the band situation in Appalachia, man. There's not a lot of cutthroat stuff. It's not really super competitive. It's everybody trying to help lift their brother and sister up, and I think that's why it works so good.
yeah, I think so too. It definitely just the environment there, it just felt more, I don't know, like he was using the word easy. Everybody was so nice, and people that traveled m- from far, even
Yeah.
so welcoming. And I got a lot of friends that show up there from my neck of the woods that are going to come down, representing the Dukes Indy. Shout out to
Awesome,
them.
man.
So
That's
that's going to
awesome.
be a good. Um, so originally I had in mind by having you on here too is to help promote it, which we are, but at the same
Yeah.
time for this year, it's sold out, right?
Yep.
We're
Yeah.
So you can get on a
So,
waiting list.
yeah. So what happened? The Cove holds about 1,200, give or take, maybe closer to 13. But then you've got to account for staff and bands and volunteers and yada yada yada. So, but we had 1,200 tickets that we were going to sell. So what's going to happen right now, if you go to laurelcovemusicfestival.com, you'll see a button there that says wait list. And there will be some more tickets available. I just don't know. We're in the process right now of finding out if that's going to be 12, if that's going to be 50, or somewhere in between. It probably won't be many more than 40 or 50, I would imagine. But we're contacting, whether it's media, sponsors, bands, whatever, and just making sure that we've got our counts right. And then once we are able to get our solid final count, then we'll open up the remainder of those tickets. And so far, there's already I think 50 people on the wait list. So what'll happen is when we release those tickets, probably middle of May, I'd say May 15th or so, you'll have 3 days to claim them. It'll send you an email, and you'll have 3 days to claim it. After that, it'll go down to the next person. So, but yeah, it's sold out, man. It's a great feeling because with us, it's like I told you before, it's very grassroots. It's not we don't have a big budget. It's not a big budget festival. Like, this is the first year we've came out into black, which is great. Because it's a labor of love, and it's something that we wanted to do through tourism to showcase our area and bring folks in from all over. Like, we've got people from Alaska coming, Canada, Ireland, California, just all over the place. And the fact that people travel that far to an area that has been, it's notorious. We've always been kind of poverty stricken in Eastern Kentucky. And once coal collapsed, it kind of, people didn't know where we were going to turn for an identity. And nobody ever thought tourism was going to be a viable thing, because everybody just kind of had this negative perception of their own home, like, who is going to come here? But we live in a really pretty part of the country, and most of our people are really friendly, welcoming. I think that's an Appalachian thing. We just, that's something we all kind of have inside of us, is welcoming folks. And just the fact that it sold out is just an honor, man. I can't thank everybody enough. It's just truly, truly humbling for that to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I haven't really thought of it that way as far as the tourism aspect of it too. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's a great place for people that love to hike, outdoorsy
yeah,
people, fish, whatever, mountains. I
yeah.
mean, so much to do in the summertime. Then you tie it in with having good music around.
Yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
mean, you can't beat that. I ended up getting a primitive camping spot there in the park, so I'll be
Oh, sweet. Well,
outdoors.
I'll be camping right beside. I had got myself a hotel room at first, and then I've already given it away because it seems like I always. What's cool, and I like this part, like, bands want to come for the whole weekend, and sometimes that's challenging logistically, because you think you're going to have, so many rooms for one night, but then everybody reaches out and it's like, man, we want, if it's all right, we want to come for the whole weekend. And that's again, that's another humbling thing. Like, that's, these bands could be out getting paid for another show, but they want to hang out with people they know. It's very much a family atmosphere between the bands who are playing it. So,
Yeah, kind of turn it into a reunion with some of them.
yeah, exactly.
I if you look at the lineups over the years, there's a lot of repeat names, and which is great. It keeps them coming back. And I'm looking at the lineup right now. We should probably spit a couple of names out there.
Sure.
First of all, 49 Winchester.
Mhm.
I mean, they are killing things right now. It's
Oh,
great to
yeah.
see them headline this pretty much.
Oh, dude. Yeah. They're the best. Good guys too.
Yeah, great. Who else is out there? Already mentioned Drayton. He'll be back. Arlo McKinley, laid back country picker, which I've never seen before, so I'm looking forward to
Oh
them.
man, he's awesome.
Uh,
He's one of my favorite human beings. Him and Teresa are both two of my favorite human beings on earth too. So
perfect.
yeah.
Then you got the late night sets with Cole and Logan.
Mhm.
Those are going to be cool.
Yeah.
I
We
always love
wanted
the
to get
local honeys too. Those girls are something else. Mark
Yeah, and
Hamill.
they're bringing a 5-piece too, which is I mean, if their 5-piece set is just incredible. They had it in 2021. I think they brought a 5-piece set. Um, and it was unreal. But yeah, I mean, one thing we tried to do with the lineup this year is, and not any slight on last year's lineup because I love it. You know, Charles is doing amazing things now, and but you know, last year once I looked at it, it was a lot of singer songwriter country, and this year, you know, we made a conscious effort to kind of go back and do like in 21, where like in 21 we had Lost Dog, and we had it was all different kinds of music. And that's what Kentucky and West Virginia and Ohio and this area is, you know, Indiana is known for is, you know, it's not all just country. So, you know, somebody like S.G. Goodman or the Red Clay Strays,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, are way more rock, you know. You got, you know, bluegrass with somebody like Wolfpen Branch. I mentioned the other day there's a band called Girl Tones out of Louisville, or no, they're at a Bowling Green, two sisters that are like almost grunge. I mean, and so it's just all different types of music, but it's all really, you know, high quality stuff. Um, so I think that resonates with people too. Is like you're not just coming and seeing 28 country acts. You know, there's all different genres there. So I think it keeps it fresh. It makes it not, you know, seem monotonous or repetitive. You know, you're getting a lot of different sounds, which I think is a good thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's perfect for a show like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, last year I remember it was a funny thing. Now I'm thinking about it. I think I went up to Cole Cheney and I said something to him that, yeah, because him with the wolf pen, I was like, you know what? Back at home in Indiana, the same dates was at the Bill Monroe Bluegrass Festival.
Yeah.
They were having their Bluegrass Fest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, here I am in Kentucky, the bluegrass state. I'm like, there's only one band up there with a banjo. We need some more banjo up in here.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's some of the things, you know, I try to represent it pretty equally, you know, because I love bluegrass. I'm weird though, man. I like all different kinds. I love metal. I love rock. I love old 90s hip hop. You
Yep.
know, so I've got a kind of eclectic taste in music. But bluegrass is something I always, you know, obviously being from Southeast Kentucky, that's something that is probably always going to resonate the most with me. So, Town Mountain is one that I'm always a huge fan of. Town Mountain. I'm trying to get those guys on, hopefully next year because you know that's a bluegrass band that I absolutely love, and we got them coming later in the summer. But I want to try to definitely get them for Laurel Cove here coming up, maybe next year.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great. They've been on the show and I've seen them live a couple times. Great, great band.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. Yeah, the that lineup mixture too, and I feel like a lot of the people that listen to that style, those styles of music, and particularly a lot of these bands, they're guys like or people like me and you that really
mm-hmm.
just love music. They're there to have a good time, of course, but they're actually paying attention to the music. They want to
Dude,
see who's what, and they're impressed. And it's
you know
not
that's
a
super
bunch of people
important.
at that's a big problem in dingy old bars. Everybody gets drunk and starts yelling and not even paying attention. They forgot what they were there for, what they paid money for. That wasn't the
It's
case. That
funny. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because literally I'm working on an email right now just to kind of let folks know because we got a lot of newcomers this year, but that's something that we are super cognizant of is making sure that people walk the fine line of making sure they're having an awesome time, but also not being disrespectful to either their fellow concert goers or the band on stage. It's funny because, you know, a lot of festivals, smaller festivals especially, will take on kind of the personality of the people who put them on. And that's something, whether it's Laurel Cove or Bell Theater, that our group of friends have always been super aware of. Is like, we're not the type to yell and go and get stupid drunk and yell over the top of one another during the sets. And that's just something we never really have had a problem with it at Laurel Cove, because, we let folks know, hey, if somebody taps you on the shoulder and says you're being too loud or you're being a jerk, just know that they're doing it not to be a jerk to you. Just, they want to be able to pay attention to the bands. And, and bands feel that. I mean, I can't tell you how many bands have said that they would, I get told all the time, I'd rather have 15 people in there that are locked into what I'm doing and paying attention than a room full of 500 people that are just not paying attention at all. And that's something that's Laurel Cove has always been really strong in that area. Is we have a very attentive crowd. Again, we're not the fun police. We're not there to, make everybody not have a good time. But at the same time, we want everybody to respect all the people that are there, and give the band on stage some respect too. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's not much of I didn't see any issue with it. So I think people just know it, and then it just comes with the territory out there. It's pretty easy going.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. What else should we cover, John? Anything else that needs to be said? We're getting close. It's the first festival I'll be attending. I'm going to several this summer, and this will be the first one I'm attending. So I'm
cool, man. I'm
pumped.
excited. I mean, that's another cool thing, is just that it's one of the first ones. I mean, because I'm, first and foremost, I'm like you. I'm just a fan. Like I'm excited this year. My buddy Blake and I, who I mentioned earlier, we're going to Under the Big Sky out in Montana this year. That's one of the few big festivals I'm going to. But I guess just encouraging people, whether it's Laurel Cove or any other I mean, there's so many good festivals all over. Like, my buddy Tim does Manchester Music Festival. My friend Tiffany and her crew do Masters Musicians out in Somerset. There's a Chicken Festival in London. There's my buddy Charlie Hatcher, who does Healing Appalachia up in West Virginia. Fallsburg, which is great. Chad and Jimmy, all those guys. And like I said, just a countless amount of others. So just go and support. I mean, because it's super important for the communities. I mean, those little communities, a lot of them, like, I'll use ours for an example, are ones that people don't realize the impact that they're visiting that has on our community. I mean, spending a little money in our hotels or in restaurants or something like that. That's huge for us, because we don't have tons of factories, and we don't have, we're kind of far off the interstate. We have good roads getting in there, but we're still kind of far off. But, we try to do a lot of cool things throughout the year. There's the Levitt series in Middlesboro. We've got a festival in October in Middlesboro at the Cumberland Mountain Fall Festival, and the Bell Theater shows too. So, whether it's here, like you said, Duke's Indy, wherever, just go out and support live music. These bands were, everybody was cooped up for 3 years, and I don't want to forget that, what a blessing it is. 2021, it was crazy. In Laurel Cove, the state lifted regulations the day of Laurel Cove. And that was such a great feeling, because everybody was just like, okay, we can kind of get back out now. My wife's a physician, so we were always really super conscious of COVID. But when those restrictions finally lifted, and we were able to have 2 days of music, it was great. So I hope people don't forget that and don't take it for granted, because, like I said, whether it's our festival or any of the festivals I named, or any other ones out there, go and support them, especially smaller ones, man. Small ones are super important to the people who put it on and the communities that are in. Festival of the Red, I forgot to mention them. All these great festivals. Try to make it out and catch one of them if you can.
Yeah, definitely. I should probably say give a little shout out to Nolan Taylor too. Don't want to forget his name.
Yeah.
Excited to see him, and I booked a show with him at Duke's Indy, speaking of which,
really,
in July.
Dude,
so
it's great. All these young cats coming up are so talented. Nolan, Cole, Drayton, Logan. Just all of them. Tim Gooden, who's from Bell County. I mean, it's great to see this next class of people coming up and doing some big things. So,
Yeah.
and that's what we're trying to do is showcase. You know, we're never going to be able to afford the Towers or Sturgills or Stapletons, but we want to focus on the who's coming up next. You know, and that's kind of our goal. So,
Yeah. Well, keep it up. Hard work's paying off, man. Like I said, I'm thrilled to have you on. One last time, could you tell everyone where they should follow and like and subscribe and all that? Or you got a bunch of
yeah.
social media platforms or?
Yeah, appreciate it. It's website is laurelcovemusicfestival.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on Twitter. Shane Cook is on all those. If you get a message, a quick reply, say thanks to Shane at the festival, because it's 99% of the time it's him answering them. So I'll give my boy some shout outs too, because we'd have a lot of unread messages if it was just up to me. So
All right, brother. Well, I'll
man,
see
thanks for
you.
having
I'll
me
see you
on.
soon. I'll see you in about a month.
Yes,
June
sir.
9th and 10th.
Yes, sir.
Everyone
Pineville,
look it
Kentucky.
up.
We appreciate it. See you then.